Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be talking about reasons why I think my generation might be cooked. So Gen Z loves to hate on millennials and boomers, and sometimes for good reason. I mean, there was Reagan, and also the fact that we kind of don't remember much of the early 2000s. Like, millennials had that, but for us Gen Zers, kind of feels like we don't really have anything going on in terms of culture and like really interesting things going on besides maybe like some stuff from last year. But anyways, before I start, I'm going to open up an energy drink and then we're gonna get into it. I also don't want to be like, oh, I was born in the wrong decade or the wrong generation, because that's not how I feel. I actually feel that this is the right generation for me to be born in. The first reason I wrote down why my generation might be cooked is because we are super gullible, and again, I've fallen into this too. But the first example I want to bring up of this are conspiracy theories. If you're ever online, TikTok especially, and sometimes Instagram, you'll randomly get on like conspiracy talk and find like people saying the wildest things that have no proof, no evidence, nothing confirmed. And like, lack of evidence is not evidence for something. Like, guys, we need to be serious. So I've seen so many conspiracy theories going on, and obviously because of how the current administration has been about like releasing the Epstein files, I understand why people are having conspiracy theories about that. But I've seen some about like 9/11 and people still talking about QAnon and adrenochrome, and I'm like, you are so stupid. If you believe in conspiracy theories, like, it's not a fact. Like, if a conspiracy theory were real, it wouldn't be called a conspiracy theory. Let's be real. So a lot of people have fallen victim to conspiracy theories because of my next point, which is that Gen Z tends to feel like if someone has more followers, that means that they're more credible. And that just isn't true. Like, the bigger the platform something has, that doesn't mean it's true. Like, look at what Fox News does. They have millions of viewers. Tucker Carlson, after he left, literally said that it's propaganda for boomers.
What they're doing is what they always do, which is just turning up the propaganda hose to full blast and just trying to, knock elderly Fox viewers off their feet and make them submit to a new war.
Especially on TikTok, you'll see like some influencer, like that Michaela makeup artist girl, like she got caught lying about some like lashes, but just because she has so many followers and gets so many views, people still trust her. It just like doesn't make sense why you would continue to trust someone who's been caught lying to their audience multiple times. Just because you see someone with a big following parroting this like conspiracy theory or this like brand, it doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. They could be doing an undisclosed ad, or they could just not be smart and not be doing their own research about a conspiracy theory and believing it and then telling other people about it. Also, with my generation, there's definitely a big confirmation bias when it comes to politics. Like, a lot of people see politics as their identity, which at one point I would say that was kind of how I was, but then I realized that's kind of a toxic way to see politics and also to view yourself. I'll see people lie about Trump, which, like, if you know me, you know I'm like the last person ever to defend Trump. But if you're lying about him, I'm obviously gonna call it out as a lie because it's just not true. So just because you're someone on the left and you see someone on the left say something that you would like to believe is true, you should still check if it's true or not, because just because you think you're completely right about politics, which you can feel however you want to, but do not fall into the confirmation bias. Just because you agree with someone on some things doesn't mean that like what they're saying is 100% true about other things. Also, let's be real, there's so many real confirmed reasons to dislike Trump that we don't need to be making stuff up. The next big point about why my generation might be cooked is because of our usage of AI. So I'm talking strictly of generative AI, which is pretty much the only AI we have out there. I've used generative AI for multiple things. I use it for whenever I caption my videos. sometimes in Final Cut Pro, I'll do the like transcribe to caption thing, and I see that as like a win because it runs on my computer. So the downsides of AI, which I will be getting into, that most people talk about, if it runs on your computer, it's not as big of a deal. And also, it allows people that are deaf to be watching my videos with accurate captions because the auto-generated ones on YouTube aren't the most accurate. So whenever I generate captions on my own videos, I always watch it back to make sure that like the captions are legit and that it's not just like putting words in my mouth. AI, if you didn't know, it requires a lot of power to just, one, run it, but two, a lot of water to cool it. If you don't know, there's a way you can cool computers down using water, which makes sense, but it requires a lot of water when your computer is running super hot. So a lot of people that have like extravagant gaming systems, they'll actually have water-cooled CPUs, and I think you can even water-cool GPUs, correct me if I'm wrong, if not just the CPU, but they'll do that on their own, which is like kind of a long task, and if you want someone else to do it, it's kind of expensive. So think of that at like a large scale. Think of like a large data center used for like XAI or Meta AI. Like water is being used to cool that, and that takes a lot of water. Now think of how big AI is getting. That's going to be a lot of water, and that's going to be a lot of water that isn't put towards, I don't know, allowing people to drink water, or water being used to put out wildfires as climate change continues to do its thing. We need that water for other things, and we're using so much of it on AI. So first, there's the environmental stuff, but second of all, we're offloading our mental capacity when we ask ChatGPT to do things. There was a study recently put out, I'll link it in the description, but it basically noticed that the more someone uses AI, the less of a critical thinker they are. And that's why I try to avoid AI at all times. I don't use ChatGPT. I immediately scroll past the like Google AI summary whenever I Google something, just because it doesn't help me if it's not accurate. The third reason why I think Gen Z might be cooked, and this one might be controversial, but it has to do with drugs and addiction. So alcohol is considered a drug. Cigarettes, I don't know if people consider that a drug. I consider it a drug. Just because it's legal, it's still a drug. Side note, I was in Las Vegas like 2 weeks ago, passed by a cigar room. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I wasn't even in the cigar room. We were walking past it. Like, it smells so bad. It's crazy. But with my generation, instead of like cigarettes, there's vaping, and then there's also Zins. So personally, I know that vapes are addictive, but as far as I know, that's the only like downside of it. But obviously there could be more, I just don't know. But when it comes to Zyn, one, it's addictive. Two, dentists have talked about how like people's gums are getting messed up. If you don't know what a Zyn is, it's basically a nicotine pouch that you put between your lip and your gum. So I think you can either put it on the bottom gum or the top gum. I've seen most people do it on the top gum, but according to dentists, people that are addicted to them are getting their gums messed up because of it. Which makes sense. You're having this foreign object right next to your gum for like, I don't know how long they last, maybe like a few hours. However long they last, you're keeping it there for so long. Of course it's going to damage your gums. So there's that. Then there's also like the romanticization of smoking cigarettes, which I understand if you try it, and even if you don't want to be addicted to it, you still are. Like, I get it. Addiction is a struggle, and I don't mean to say that like you're a bad person if you have a addiction that you can't control. I'm not saying you're a bad person. What I am saying is it's damaging to our society if we have a large group of people addicted to substances that a small group of companies control. The last reason why I think Gen Z might be cooked is because of our problem with overconsumption. I've talked about overconsumption multiple times on my YouTube channel. There's a great book you could read about it called Consumed by Aja Barber. I've recommended it to so many like family members and friends of mine to read it. Even if I don't think they have a consumption problem, I'm just like, read it. This book is so good. It was released in 2021, so it's pretty recent also. Our generation just loves to shop, and especially fast fashion, which is a big problem in our world. Because fast fashion not only exploits people, but it exploits our natural resources. So if you're buying clothes because it's trendy, rethink about that. So there's first fast fashion, and then there's also collectibles. I don't want to talk a lot about Labubus just because everyone is talking about them, so I don't really have anything new to add to the conversation. I just think they're ugly, they're stupid. It's basically gambling for kids because they don't know if they're getting the Labubu that they want, so they have to keep buying the mystery boxes. Maybe the kid just wanted one, but because they didn't get the one that they really liked on the first try, they have to keep buying them, then they're stuck with all of these Labubus that, unless they're rare, no one else is going to want them. And I understand collecting things like collecting books, posters, autographs, CDs. I get collecting that, but collecting random mystery box stuff that no one else cares about and you probably don't even care about in like a month, that's not a real like collection of stuff. That's just a collection of garbage. We also have falling for TikTok shop scams and just honestly scams in general. I don't trust anything on the TikTok shop. Most of it is drop shipped crap that isn't gonna work or isn't going to be the exact thing that I was expecting it to be. And TikTok gets so pushy every time, no matter what the person's talking about, but if they link something with the TikTok shop, I'll say not interested, and I'll scroll past because I'm so done with seeing TikTok shop everywhere. I freaking hate it. I don't want it. I wish I could turn off the shop tab because I'm never gonna buy from it. They're like $80 off. How are you giving me $80 off? I've never bought anything from you before. So TikTok shop, everything, I feel like it's just a scam. Like, just go on Amazon, go anywhere else, because also the stuff on Amazon likely isn't going to be better. It's also going to be drop shipped crap, but Amazon at least has some reputable stuff. I know like some small businesses sell through there, and I think that's great, but people have taken advantage of the TikTok shop system and just put on a bunch of e-waste that is going to break down in like a month. If you have any thoughts on why you think Gen Z might be cooked, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to think. If you disagree with me, you know, that's fair. You can tell me why. Just be respectful. If you have any other thoughts, just let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you liked it. Don't if you didn't. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.